Welcome. My guest this show is author Tom McLaughlin, and I would like to share with you some information about him. Tom McLaughlin's career epitomizes corporate excellence and entrepreneurial success. After a full career excelling in technical, sales, and leadership roles, Tom McLaughlin's founded a multi-million dollar startup and then launched another career developing products for the medical industry. Holding a BA in experimental psychology and an MBA in executive management, Mr. McLaughlin's education and business acumen offer a powerful lens in the role of creating and forging deeper, more meaningful interpersonal relationships. Stay with us.
Welcome to Stage, Screen, and In Between with Helen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a very special guest with me today. I have Thomas McLaughlin. He's a new author, and his Help book, which is going to be in a series, stems from his personal experience in business, in managerial capacities, in entrepreneurship, and so much more. So Tom McLaughlin has a new book, which is a series called Inner Work on Relationships. So Tom, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, it's not really a new idea. It's an idea that has fundamentally been part of my life in terms of how I interact with people and how I fully understand how interactions work.
Okay. So now your background was in business partially. So tell everybody about that aspect of your life.
Well, I worked for a large company and set out on my own and basically worked for financial institutions, resolving their problems on the online teller equipment. And it became a rather large business. You know, we had about 500 employees, and our maximum revenue was about $2 million a year. So it was an exciting venture. It lasted about 30 years, and I've gone on from there. I mean, that's what I did for a good part of my professional career.
Okay. So now your background helps people with relationships, but it encompasses what makes a person, which I thought was a very good explanation. It encompasses people's dreams, their desires, their experiences, and it helps people tap into who they are to help project them further in their life, right?
Well, I think the book really is based upon the whole idea that the exchange of information between two people speaking to one another, the way it works is this, that when you're involved in a relationship and you're discussing things between yourself and someone else, and someone, for example, has an opinion, we think that opinion is, the effect of that opinion is based upon what the person says, but it really is based upon your internal reaction to it. And it's like the kid's game, you know, where someone would say something to you and you'd say, "I'm rubber, you're glue." Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks on you. Well, that's pretty accurate, because basically our responses to what other people say isn't based upon really what they say. It's based upon how we react to what they say. And if you look at it, all the feelings and emotions that come out of your interplay with someone else is really fully based upon what's going on inside of us. And that's really what the genesis of the book and the series is all about. And it's all about understanding that it's our memories and our thoughts and basically our background that dictates how we really interact with other people.
So do you think that it's important for you to realize this before you react to something someone says?
I think that it's important to understand that that's really how it works and not the opposite, which would be your feelings that what other people say and do are the reason for our reaction, as opposed to our own internal reaction. Really, it's really all coming from inside of us.
So do you have any stories that you would want to impart here with our audience that maybe maybe were the impetus for you even writing this book, some of your life experiences? Because you also have a degree in psychology, although this book is purely from your life experience, not from a medical point of view.
Well, that wouldn't be exactly true. The book is not about my life experience, other than really understanding how the interplay between two people or a group of people works. And the book is about setting up a situation where the reader is provided an opportunity to hone in on that and to improve on a day-by-day basis how they interact with other people and better understand how their feelings play a major role in that discourse.
And you stress the importance of the uniqueness of people, that you are you. So you're a combination of your past experiences, your dreams, and your hopes. Am I on target with that?
Well, I think as an individual, how we think and feel is primarily based upon our experience, right? So, it's our memories. The book really plays on the whole idea of being creative, and being creative out of your own collection of ideas and memories that you want to use to improve your correspondence, really, your interplay with other people.
Yeah, and part of what your dreams may be and who you are also have to do with the talents you may have. Am I right?
Well, if you're talking about intellect, we all have different intellect. I'm not so sure that talent necessarily plays a role, other than maybe the talent you have in your personality, that somebody might find it much simpler to be creative than somebody else. And the book, which is based upon a 20-day training session, allows you each and every day to take on a different personal attribute and use that as kind of a background to your intercourse with others, to try to pull out of the individual who's the reader, who's the person being trained, try to pull out of them that we all have different attributes. And what the book is trying to do is to make one who's going through the 21-day course, understand that maybe not all of them are strong and not necessarily weak either.
Is part of what the training would help you with would be possibly your reaction to what people may say that may in the past have upset you, but now you can look at it coming from a different point of view?
Oh, that certainly would play a role, because that would be fundamental, meaning that if somebody says something to you that makes you upset, it's very easy to be thinking about blaming that person for doing or saying something that makes you upset, as opposed to understanding that being upset comes from within, that's a choice that you actively make. And that's really the fundamental thing to learn in the book is that it's not coming from outside, that the reaction is really built 100% inside, right? That's what you create, not what somebody else creates by, pestering you or picking on you or whatever it is. Yeah.
So, is there a reason why it's a series and not all in one shot?
Well, the idea of the series, it goes back to where I've done a great deal of writing, and that is on inventions. And if you think about it, inventions, very simply, you start out with a problem and you have a solution. So the whole idea of interpersonal relationships globally is book one. And that is really fundamentally understanding that all of the reactions that come out of you are internal. That is really, you may be putting the cause outside, but the real cause is inside. And that's a real good learning tool to get under your belt. The other books touch on other aspects of life, such as careers. It could be family, romance, business, professionalism. Those kinds of things all have unique problems associated with them. And the whole idea of each of the books is to identify a particular problem and to have that book briefly help the person understand how to solve that problem. And that really goes back to all the writing I had done over the years on inventions. Fundamentally trying to make things as simple and as straightforward as possible, and to give the reader an opportunity to solve the problem maybe differently than they had ever thought of solving the problem. The creativity, which is the backbone of book one, but carrying forward the creativity so that we can identify the problem and bring to that problem some fundamental ways of solving the problem that maybe the reader hasn't thought of. The other idea, and the reason why it's 6 books in a series, is that you could lump all of this together in one big book. But each of these problems may not be what somebody is really after to solve. In other words, if you have a family problem and you're looking to solve a family problem, you don't care about business problems and you don't care about romance problems or career problems. So the whole idea, I tried to separate it just as I would if I were writing a patent for an invention. I try to hone in on that particular invention, bring to it as much technical and field intelligence that's necessary to understand the problem and the solution together, right? And that's what I've done. For example, the first book is only 100 pages. If you were to look at comparable books in this arena, they're 300, 400, 500 or more. They're all huge books, and what they are is a combination of issues that really should be separated out, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I've done.
So will it bring a certain amount of happiness to know that you've helped somebody through your experience and your book?
I don't know if happiness would be the word I would pick. I would say a sense of satisfaction of sharing something that I believe I know very well in a way that others can use to their benefit, right? And I'm not so sure it would make me happy. It would make me feel good that at this point in my life, I've taken my experience, my knowledge, and imparted it to others that don't have that advantage, right? That's all, really.
So do you feel that it's a journey? It's not necessarily that they read what you wrote and it's an automatic thing. Is it something they need to work on in their everyday life?
I think fundamentally, and I'll use my patent background as an analogy, that, for example, one of my patents, and I do have quite a few, enough, too many. One of my patents has to do with solving periodontal disease. The whole idea is someone doesn't have to read my entire patent to understand what I'm trying to do. What they have to do is put my gadget in their mouth and realize that their gums feel better. Okay. What I want to do with this series of books is that for each one of the topics, for example, book number 1 is about interpersonal relationships and about understanding the rubber and glue, that what you say bounces off me and sticks on you, that my response to anything coming from the outside in terms of interaction is really coming from inside of me. Now, just like taking this gadget and putting on your gums and making your gums feel better, I would like it to be that somebody, as they read this book and they go through all of the machinations of how do you get to that understanding, that they go, aha, aha, that's all I want. If you get aha out of interpersonal relationships, that's my goal. That's all I want to do.
Okay, so you're looking for an aha moment, which is important, right? Aha.
I think it's, I'm not sure, but I think it's Sigmund Freud that really epitomized that idea that, you know, when you look at my books, each of my books, and I have one written, second one I'm struggling with, honestly, because I have to get that aha feeling myself, right? That when somebody puts the book down, that's what they say. That's all they have to say. They don't have to say it's good, that I love it, or that it really fixed X, Y, and Z. You just go, aha, now I understand. That's the point.
But do you consider it a self-help book?
It is a self-help book. Every one of them are self-help books. It would be no purpose. The whole purpose of it is exactly like an invention. I have an invention. I had a toilet that was stuck, and I didn't know how to fix it. And I went on Amazon, and I found a product. I tried it. Bing! It was gone. Aha! That's how to fix that problem. Mm-hmm. Period. That's simple. And that's what every single one of these books should be. They should be an aha moment. It shouldn't be long. It shouldn't take you through areas that are not important. For example, most of the books, well, I can't say most, many of the books are about inner child, that are about interpersonal relationship. That's not what this book is about. It's not about interchild. In spite of the fact that a lot of people are struggling with that, right? This is a book, plain and simple, about improving interpersonal relationships in the most fundamental way. And the most fundamental way is taking the 21-day course and every single day having a different affect in my personality played as a primary part of that role. And the next day, I try another one. One day I'm going to be strong. One day I'm going to be affectionate. One day I'm going to be wise, right? Each day I'm going to use a different aspect of personality that maybe I'm not using, maybe I am, but I can play with it. I can be creative. That's the whole point. And at the end of the 21 days, man, you better sit down and say, aha.
So you think that for each person, it's a very unique choice of what they use to help their relationship, if it's any of the things that you just mentioned?
It is absolutely a barrage of ideas that are perpetrated across a 21-day period, and every single day is a moment or a day of creativity where you take your unique personality. Every single person has a completely different personality, and you play with it. You play creatively with it. You take your memories of things and you try to use them in a way that enhances your interplay. And that's all. That's all. And at the end of 21 days, you put the book down, right? you'd think about it and maybe do it again. I think you would. You would want to do it again because it will improve your personality.
Okay, now, do people have anything to do with keeping a journal on how things are going for them?
Well, the book has a link to a page which provides you with a day-by-day, stroke-by-stroke feedback on what you fulfilled for that day. And the whole idea of that is to very, very briefly have an analysis of what you did today, tomorrow, the next day for 21 days, so that you can go back any point in time, midway through the course, beginning of the course, or after the course, and take a look and say, aha, that's what hit me. That's what got me that day, right? And that's the whole point.
Aha.
Okay.
So now, what made you come up with this? Was it something that you had an aha moment with, that you said, gee, I had trouble with this or that, and I drew from my experience, I drew from my dreams, I looked at it a different way? What made you realize that these ideas that you're having can actually be beneficial for a lot of people?
Well, let me use the patent as, I have a psychology background, I have a business background, but let me use the analogy of the gums. I had terrible gum problems myself, okay? Most of which was never really solved, okay? The periodontal disease went away only through efficient hygiene, but the real solution early on to the periodontal disease would have been my invention. So I think, okay. But to come to that conclusion, I had a problem, and I'm looking for a solution. So I looked and looked and looked. If you looked at the patent, there must be, in the patent itself, I would say 30 specific solutions to the problem, and this is the one, X, I'll put an X on it, I'll say, the one that I picked, right? Now, this is exactly the same. You want to improve interpersonal relationships? What I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a whole raft of solutions that really fit. They're all attributes that most people, every person, has or wants to have. And now you can play with all of them, and you make the decision. You, the unique person, the unique reader, you make the decision which one or ones make you happier, make you say, aha, that's the one. I like to be wise. I like to be dominant.
I like to be happy. Aren't most people searching for happiness, or at least parents, the main thing they want for their children, other than health and wealth, it's happiness, isn't it?
Well, let's take a look at that as a problem, okay? If you're not happy, what will make you happy? And there isn't one thing that's going to make you happy. There are lots of things that could make you happy. And just like in the book, if I gave you a whole list of things that could make you happy and you tried them, you would pick the ones that made you happy. You would, same exact thing. All it is, it's you go into a bunch of different restaurants, you have different food, some food you like, some food you don't like. The ones you like, you're going to go back to the restaurant. This is 21 different days with different attributes that you can try on and see if it fits you.
Well, I think that it's you really have hit on something that's very important, because everyone is so unique, and we can all draw from various aspects of what you're calling to attention, what we may know but have forgotten. So I want to thank you very much, Tom, for telling us about your book and your series, and I'm going to let everybody know how they can get in touch with you and find out more. This is going to be really something unique and something life-changing, perhaps. Thank you so much.
Thank you.